Hello, I'm Abigail Jaimes, and today my lesson will be on Fables for third grade. I created a 5E lesson plan, and I will be going off of that to do my lesson. I'll be interacting with the classroom and then giving some information on what I have on my lesson plan. All right. So my objectives are the student will be able to describe the characteristics of Fable with 100% accuracy, and the student will be able to identify the characteristics when given a fable with 100% accuracy as well. This lesson is off of the TEKS for third grade English Language Arts and Reading 3.9.8, which states the student is expected to demonstrate knowledge of distinguishing characteristics of well-known children's literature, such as folktales, fables, fairy tales, legends, and myths. So today I'll only be focusing on fables. All right, classroom. All right, everybody. I need everybody to clear off your desks. I want everything off of your desks. Any journals, any papers, any pencils, markers, everything needs to be put away. We're about to start our lesson. I'm going to count to 10. Everything needs to be put away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I see all desks are clear. All right. We're going to watch a video. I want you to pay attention very carefully. What's going on with the characters? What is everything that's going on in the story? And then we're going to talk after. All right. I want all eyes to the front of the classroom at the board. Ready? So basically, I would have them watch The Tortoise and the Hare. It's a almost 3-minute video, and then I'm fast forward. All right, children. So what did we learn? What was the story about? Anybody tell me? Who's heard? Let's go back. Who's heard of this story before? The Tortoise and the Hare. Raise your hand if you've heard or you've read this story before. Okay, not many of y'all. That's totally cool. All right. So what was this story about? Charlie, can you tell me what the story was about? Okay. A rabbit, yes. But in this case, it was a hare, but yes. All right. Okay. Yes. And from this story, so we see the hare and we see the turtle and they're racing. At the end of the story, what was the theme? What was the lesson that we learned? What was it about? What did you get out of it? Can anybody tell me? Okay, don't bite. One at a time. Mary? Okay, yes, that's great. Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do today, we're going to learn about fables. Has anyone heard of this word before? Fables? What does it sound like? What does the word fable sound like? Michael? If fable sounds like cable, yes, it does sound like cable because they rhyme, but they're not the same. They're not the same, but good try. All right, so going off of the story that we just saw, what is in the hare, we're going to learn today about fables. Just think about that word, fables. And let's see what fable means. Whoops. All right, a fable is a short story with animals as characters that conveys a moral. I want everybody to read it with me. A fable is a short story with animals as characters that conveys what? A moral. All right, so what's a short story? We should all know what a short story is. What is it, Mary? A story that is small length with very few characters. Awesome. What are characters? Really loud, everybody? People. Yes, people in a story. Awesome. And conveys. That's a big word. Have you used that word before? Conveys means communicate, tell, or teach. So in the definition, a fable is a short story with animals as characters that communicates, that tells or teaches a moral. What is the moral? What does moral mean? A lesson or a theme. So remember our vocabulary word that we've been learning and reading, theme. We need to remember theme. Theme means a lesson. Theme means what the topic is about. So that remember that we need to learn that word, a theme, because that's going to be, okay? When it talks about the lesson, what something is about, what's the moral, instead of using moral, it's going to ask you what is the theme. Yeah. All right. So a fable is a short story. Now, the story that we just watched, The Tortoise and the Hare, just think real carefully. Close your eyes. Think. Is the tortoise and the hare, would you consider that a fable? Open your eyes. Don't answer. Open your eyes. Look at the question on the board. Is the tortoise and the hare a fable? Raise your hand if you think it's a yes. Just raise your hand. Okay, now put your hand up. Raise your hand if you don't think the tortoise and the hare is a fable. No one? Everybody thinks? Why do y'all think the tortoise and the hare is a fable? Because you learned something at the end? All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so today we're going to be learning about fables. What makes up a fable? What are the characteristics of a fable? How can we look at something or read a story and identify right away? That's that short story. So we're going to learn how to do that. So in order for us to learn that, learn what makes up a fable, I'm going to need now everybody to pull out your reading journals and pull out your pencils, your colored pencils, your markers, your pens, colored pens, whatever will not smear and that you can read and I can read. All right? Pull that out. I'm going to count to 10. It should be organized, so you should know where everything is at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I want you to open up your journals, go to the next clean page that you have. Next clean page that you have. So, my next clean page can be the back of a notebook page that I had been working on, or the next one. I would start with the next back, if that's your next clean page. That way we don't waste paper. All right. So once you're ready, I want you to turn your journal long ways, because we're gonna work this. All right. All right. Okay. So what are we gonna do? I want everybody to pay attention, look at the board, and this is what we're gonna do. I want everybody to pay attention. And I want everybody to write at the top. Charlie, can you read what it says on the board? Characteristics of a fable. I want y'all to write it at the top of your journal. And then we are going to draw one big cloud. You can draw a circle, you can draw a cloud. I like clouds, so I'm going to do clouds. But you can do clouds or circles. Just do one big one. Don't get all decorative yet. We're just going to do a graphic organizer, and we're going to do clouds today. All right, once you do your cloud, I want you to write fable in the middle, and we're going to write our definition of fable. All right? So this part would usually go a lot slower, giving them time for the students to write down what I want in each cloud as they follow along with me. But for the sake of time, I'm going to go faster with this part. All right. So students, after y'all write fable and your definition, I want you to draw 3 arrows coming out of the big, 3 arrows, like look at the board and look at mine. 3 big arrows. So as the students are working on this, I will be walking around on past that they're not stuck behind that they're with the group, working along with it. All right, so we're going to draw 3 clouds. 1, 2, 3 clouds. On the first cloud, y'all ready? Let's start with the characteristics of a fable. So what kind of characteristics did our short story, The Tortoise and the Hare, have? How can we describe that story? Let's go off of that story because it's the first fable that we can identify, the first short story that we know is a fable. How can we describe it? Look, you can look at the definition as well. Mary? It's a short story. Yes, it's short. It's real quick and to the point. What else do we have? Was it funny? Was it sad? Was it scary? What kind of story was it? It was a funny story. Yeah, it was funny. But fables can also be sad. They can also be scary. And there is another characteristic. It is fiction. What's fiction mean, Joseph? Not true. Correct. Not true. All right, so I want you to write these 3 characteristics in the first cloud. Let's move on to this second cloud. Is everybody ready to move on? All right, second cloud, we're going to talk about the characters. What kind of characters does fable have? Let's read the definition again. What does it say? Fable is a short story with animals as characters that conveys a moral. So in The Tortoise and the Hare, what kind of characters did we have? There were animals, right? A tortoise and a hare. Tortoise and the hare. Is that a lot of characters or a little bit of characters? A few characters, yeah. And what did the characters do? They talked. Yes, they talked like who? Do animals talk? No, but they talk like humans. So in a fable, the characters, there's very few characters because again, our is short story. And because it's fiction, because it's not true, the characters at times they can be animals and they act like humans. So they can walk like humans, they can eat like humans, do the stuff that humans do. All right, and for our third cloud, everybody's ready? You got it all written down? Awesome. All right. For our third cloud, what did we get out of the story? What was the theme? What does the theme mean? I need y'all to learn what the theme means. So when you see it on a test, you'll know. What does the theme mean, Marcus? Yes, theme is the lesson. What is the lesson? What is the topic? What did we get out of this? What was the message? So let's read the definition of fable again. We're going to keep going back to the definition. It is a short story with animals as characters that conveys a moral. What did we say a moral was? A moral was a lesson. So what do we get out of a fable? A lesson. Yes, we learn a lesson. Correct. So on our third cloud, we're going to write down there is a lesson to be learned. So what was the lesson in the tortoise and the hare? Can anybody tell me? Awesome. Good job. I love that. All right. So y'all did great. So now you have your journal, your graphic organizer of characteristics of a fable. So now you have your tips. You have how to identify a fable. So what are we going to do now? Now, since you know how to identify characteristics and what makes up a fable, now I'm going to give you a new short story. And it's going to be your turn to identify what in it makes it a fable. Because it is a short story. It's a very short story, but you on your own, you can use the graphic organizer, the class that we did right now. You're going to tell me what parts of that short story tell us that it is a fable. So I will be passing around The Boy Who Cried Wolf this one. So on the front side, you can see it. Once you get the worksheet, you have your short story here on one side. And on the back side, you have your cloud graphic organizer that you will be working on. You are going to read this short story by yourself. And very carefully, you're going to read it by yourself, and then you will fill out the cloud graphic on the back of your story with the fable characteristics. All right? Now, this is an independent practice. This independent practice will last between 25 and 25 minutes. I would say 25 minutes for them to read it one time, two times, because it is an independent practice. I want everybody to go at their pace. Those that master the objectives right away, the ones that are quick and are done quick, to challenge them to have something else for them to do, I would have them get out their journals and start creating their own fable. You know what makes up already. You know, it has to be short, it can be funny, it has to be fiction, the types of characters, it has to be a few, and there has to be a lesson. So they know what makes up a fable. So now I would challenge them to create their own fable on their own. Now, the differentiation that I would have for this lesson is for the independent practice. If the reading on the worksheet is a little bit difficult, I do have the Ross Kids Level for Readers, which is a book that is a level smaller, or a little bit more simpler for them to read. It's the same story, so we'll still get the same moral, but it's just going to be a lot easier for them to read, and they'll still be able to fill out the graphic after. And so they'll all still be able to master the lesson, which would be to describe the characteristics of a fable with 100% accuracy, and identify the characteristics when given a fable. So whether they get the full worksheet or they get the simpler, easier read book. All right, students. So once y'all are done with that, I want y'all to bring it up to the board, to my desk, put it in the turn-in box. And now when you go back to your desk, there will be a sticky note on your desk. A sticky note, a post-it note, and here is going to be your exit ticket for today, before we go to math class. Here we go. All right, the exit ticket. Identify one characteristic of the fable you just read. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. One characteristic. So we wrote quite a handful of characteristics that make up a fable. So I want you to write one. Write your answer on the sticky note and put your name on it. Make sure you write your name on it so you can get credit. When you are done, stick it on the board. Come to the front, stick it on the board, and you can line up. Make sure your name is on there. Make sure you write an answer. That way I can grade it. I can give you a grade for today's lesson. If you don't put your name on it, I won't give you credit. If you don't even fill out anything, then it's like if you weren't even here today. So, all right. That is the end of my lesson, my exit. Thank you.